What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, YouTube exclusive Week 13 early line look ahead. Will Brinson, joined by John Breech to break down the lines you need to know for next week. I feel like we typically do pretty well on these. Didn't have a ton of locks last week, but I seem to nail it fairly reasonably well. And we start next week with Browns at Titans. Oh no, we did do pretty well because we had the Thanksgiving games going. Browns at Titans, Titans -4, over under 53, a critical AFC playoff battle between the Browns and the Titans. Breech.
Who would have ever thought this? And first of all, Brinson, don't jinx us here. Sitting here talking about how amazing we've been. And all of a sudden, we're going to go 0 for the week when you make statements like that. My goodness. You know what, though? Who would have thought both of these teams would be 8-3 at this point in the season? It's amazing. This is going to be an old school football game where we have two of the top 5 rushing teams in the NFL. We might see 60 carries combined between Nick Chubb and Derrick Henry. Both these teams love to run the ball, but for me, the biggest difference is at quarterback. I don't trust Baker Mayfield at all. I do trust Ryan Tannehill. So I think both these defenses are going to go all in and stopping the run and force the quarterback to do the majority of the work on offense. I like Ryan Tannehill. Therefore, I like the Tennessee Titans. And the Browns just don't play well on the road. We saw them not cover against Jacksonville on Sunday. I do not think they will cover here.
I agree. I think the Tennessee might woodshed these guys. And mainly because while Tennessee's defense isn't great, as you point out, you're asking Baker Mayfield to carry the load. You can run against the Browns. We saw Jacksonville and James Robinson have success on Sunday. Tennessee, this is Derrick Henry season. This is when Derrick Henry gets rolling. It's when he puts up huge games. He had 120 rushing yards in the first half of Sunday's win over the Colts. He manhandled that defense. I think he can manhandle the Browns defense. And I think if Cleveland gets down early in this game, it will be a lot of trouble for him. I would tend to lean towards the over, I think, because neither team's defense is that great, but 53 is a lot of points. If the Titans get up, we can see them melt a ton of clock. I will take Tennessee -4 as an early lock there for sure. The Rams at the Cardinals, a big time NFC West matchup. The Rams lost. Both teams lost, actually. Cardinals lost to the Patriots. The Rams lost to the 49ers. Yikes. The Rams are slight favorites at Arizona. Rams -1.5, over under 48.5. Breech.
Man, the Cardinals are just flailing right now. I mean, they're a bird crashing into a tree. What is going on with them? They lost to the Patriots. That was a tough one. And now they have to play the Rams. And you know what's weird about the NFC West is, like, we can give you all the breakdowns we want, but this seems like a weird division that's all about matchups. We see the Rams just got swept by the 49ers. 49ers had Nick Mullins as their starting quarterback. It doesn't matter if the Rams probably had more talent on the field. San Francisco won the game because it's a bad matchup for the Rams. Well, you know who is a good matchup for the Rams? The Arizona Cardinals. Sean McVay has been in Los Angeles since 2017. He is undefeated against the Cardinals. He has never lost to them. He is 6-0. That includes last year, 2 games against Cliff Kingsbury. The Rams won both and scored more than 30 points. I just think that Sean McVay knows how to scheme up a good offense against the Cardinals. I think we're going to see a rebound from the Rams, a rebound from Jared Goff, and I like the Rams to cover this tiny point spread.
Not only does Sean McVay know how to scheme up a good offensive game plan against the Cardinals, but I've been saying this for a few weeks now, and I am going to echo it again. If you look at what Los Angeles does on defense, they lock you down. They lock down your number 1 wide receiver with an elite corner in Jalen Ramsey, and then they unleash Aaron Donald against quarterbacks who like to hang out in the pocket, try to make extend plays, make something happen, and with bad offensive lines. Guess what the Cardinals are? They are that. They are exactly that. They are the Seahawks with a less experienced quarterback and no Tyler Lockett to at least offset the presence of DK Metcalf. Now, Andy Isabella, Christian Kirk, fine players. Dan Arnold, cool tight end. But they are like, if they can lock down Hopkins with Jalen Ramsey and then send Aaron Donald after Kyler Murray, this could get ugly quickly. The Cardinals don't like playing from behind. I don't believe. And I like the Rams in a big way here. I would also, I think, lean towards the under. 48.5 is a little suspiciously low. I think this could be a low scoring game, Breech, between two slower paced defensive teams. Saints -3.5 at the Falcons, over under 47.5.
My God, Brinson, if I've learned one thing over the past 2 seasons, it's that just don't pick against the Saints if Drew Brees isn't playing. I always doubt them. Last year, I think I picked against them 3 times in those 5 games that Brees was out. What'd they do? They won every single time. They covered every single time. Now we've seen 2 games without Brees. They've won both games, and they've covered in both games. I honestly think that Sean Payton takes this as a personal challenge and says, you know what, I can win with Taysom Hill. If I'm forced to, I'll put Jameis Winston there. I'll win with him. I know the Falcons are on a roll, but we saw these 2 teams play a couple weeks ago. The Saints defense absolutely shut down the Falcons. I think we'll see more of that. And you know what? Falcons got gifts on Sunday from Derek Carr, 5 of them. They're not going to get those from the Saints. I like New Orleans here, especially that this is only 3.5. If it was 6 or 7, I might have a little self-doubt, but I like the Saints covering 3.5.
It's a little stinky, isn't it? 3.5. It makes you think that Atlanta could hang in here. My problem is that the Saints defense is just turning into an elite defense. It may be the best defense in football, to be perfectly honest, which is kind of insane. So there's no way in hell I'm getting in front of the Saints the way that they're rolling right now. I do think that the Falcons could potentially, and look, a lot should depend on whether Julio Jones is able to play. The Falcons actually didn't have trouble scoring points on Sunday without Julio Jones, but it wasn't because Matt Ryan was awesome or anything like that. I mean, they just kind of did some things, and the Raiders just did nothing. I mean, like they had an interception return for a touchdown, a ton of field goals, and Las Vegas was awful. So I don't think we should read too much into that score per se. I just think the Saints are rolling right now on defense, and I'm not getting in front of them. Give me the Saints as road dogs in a rivalry game. I'm sure there's no way I could end up regretting that pick. Breech. Moving along to the Colts at the Texans. Colts -2.5. Over under 54.5.
Man, you're talking about stinky point spreads with that Falcons Saints one. Maybe it's just the divisional games this week. We saw the 1.5 points with Rams-Cardinals, only 2.5 points here where the Colts are favored. I feel like I'm just not going to overthink this one. I feel like sometimes we see a close point spread. We're thinking, what's going on here? Why is this so close? I just think the Colts are the better team. I know that Houston has won 3 of 4, and I know that Houston is going to have 10-day break going into this game because they played on Thanksgiving. But look, the Texans haven't beaten anyone good. They beat Jacksonville twice. They beat the Lions. The Lions just fired their coach. That's not a good win if you beat Detroit. So until Houston actually proves that they can beat a good team, I see no reason to pick them. And I think the Colts have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And I know Deshaun Watson has been hot, but the Colts, it's a divisional game. The Colts know what to do to stop Deshaun Watson. So I like Indy in this spot.
Yeah, the Colts we saw against the Titans on Sunday are not the real Colts. I mean, they were missing DeForest Buckner, and I don't think you're going to see the Texans leap out to that hot start in the same way that you saw the Tennessee Titans do that. They can't run the football the way that the Titans did. The Colts have been a very bounce backy team this year and typically respond well when they lose a game like that. I like the Colts in this spot as well too. Sort of tend to look towards the over here, and I would think if Jonathan Taylor is cleared, whoever runs for the Colts, look at that prop, because the Texans are absolutely awful against the run, whether it's Jonathan Taylor or Nyheim Hines. I mean, if Taylor's out again next week because of COVID, look for Nyheim Hines and his over in receptions. Look for his over in rushing yards. And don't be scared of Jordan Wilkins, because nobody will be on him after his bad week this week. I like the Colts as well. And again, I think the over is not a bad play because the Texans will be throwing late in garbage time and they just score points in those spots. Broncos at Chiefs, Sunday Night Football. Maybe the Broncos will have a quarterback for this one. Vegas doesn't seem to care because they're 13.5 point dogs in Arrowhead. Breech with an over under of 48.5.
Brinson, how this game not get flexed out? We just talked about 4 games that could have been in this spot over the Broncos, but whatever. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's prime time. I'm not going to complain. One thing about the Chiefs is, I can't even remember the last time the Broncos beat the Chiefs. I think Kansas City has beaten them 10 straight times. They have gone 9-1 against the spread in those 10 games. I know the Broncos have a pretty good defense, but you know what? Andy Reid just knows how to scheme up against them. That's why the Chiefs have done so well. Both games last year, the Chiefs won by more than 2 touchdowns. I expect to see more of the same. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a big game. Tyreek Hill is going to have a big game. You name someone on the Chiefs offense, they're going to have a big game, and the Chiefs are going to cover this 13.5 points.
Yeah, I'm not getting in front of the Chiefs. They're covering everything. Now, the Buccaneers kind of, it was close. I think a push or maybe an L, depending on what number you got it at. But you can't get in front of the Chiefs. They're playing too well right now. People are stacking the box to stop them from running the football. Denver is capable of doing that. And Patrick Mahomes is just slinging it around, and no one can contain the Chiefs. Thankfully, they're on Sunday Night Football, so we can get them off the main DFS slate. I don't love 13.5 because that's a ton of points in a rivalry game. But until we know what's going on with the Broncos quarterbacks, you have to lay the points with the Chiefs if you are forced to pick something from this game. And finally, Monday Night Football. Oh, this looked a little spicier a few weeks ago. Bills -3 at the 49ers. And I guess this will be in Arizona, because the 49ers can't actually play at their home stadium because of Santa Clara County restrictions related to COVID. Do you like the Bills or the 49ers in this, what is technically a neutral site game, I believe?
This home game? Well, you know what, Brinson? The 49ers have been trying to suck me in. You know, they just beat the Rams. It's a home primetime game where the home team is an underdog. But as you said, there's no home team here because it's probably going to be played in Arizona unless something goes crazy and they find another stadium. But Arizona is the most likely spot to put it. Look, I know the 49ers, they figured out the Rams fine. They swept them for 2 of their 5 wins this season, but the Buffalo Bills are not the Rams. Josh Allen is a much more mobile quarterback. I think he's going to give the 49ers defense fits. And, you know, Nick Mullins, obviously great game against the Rams, but I don't think he is going to play 2 good games in a row. It's Nick Mullins. So as much as I hate to take a Bills team who has to fly out west to play that far away in prime time, I am going to do it and say they cover the 3.
I will do the same. I don't think we see 2 magnificent games from the 49ers the way that we did against the Rams. They typically play well in the division. Kyle Shanahan knows how to coach them up for that. And the Bills offense should be just a little too much for San Francisco to deal with and to keep up with, unless they suddenly, guys magically get healthy. Defensively, San Francisco playing very well, but Buffalo has the weapons to exploit them. And I think you will see a excellent performance from the Bills. So I'm going to take another, road chalk with the Bills -3 in that spot. That's the look at. I'd look towards the under in this game too. That's the look ahead lines for week 13. For John Breech, I'm Will Brinson. Thanks for watching. Make sure and check out the podcast in our podcast feed wherever you find your podcast.